सहना ववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Okay, chapter 5, we finished verse 16 of chapter 5 of Bhagavad Gita. And verse 16 said that, but to those whose ignorance is destroyed by the knowledge of the self, like the sun, to them knowledge reveals the supreme, that is the Brahman. So it was talking about that how our ignorance is destroyed by the light of knowledge of the self, and that knowledge is like the sun, it's self-revealing. It doesn't need any other light. So that's what the main thing was. Now we go to verse 17. I'm going to chant. Tad buddhayas tadatmana tannishta tatparayanaha kachyanta punaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. Tad buddhaya means intellect absorbed in that, and that means that Brahman. Tad atmanaha, that self being that, their self being that, means their own self is that. So you know the Atma is same as Paramatma, that's what is indicating. Tat nishtha, establish in that. किसी चीज में निष्ठा होना means firmly establish होना उसमें. Tat parayanaha, with that for their supreme goal. So ये parayan word काफी बार आता है, means you are just totally devoted to it. That is your goal. When goal means, if you say in a spiritual language, means where you are devoted to something completely. That's what it means. So that's that parayana. Gachanti, goes. Anupa avrutam. So this is not again returning. So we are going to go more in detail what it means. It's like janam maran ke chakkar se jo chhoot jata hai, but iska deep meaning while living kya hoga and all, we will discuss all that. But that's what is most significant to us actually. Marne ke baad kya hoga, we don't know, but at least while we are alive, how what will happen. That is very significant. Jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha, those whose sins have been dispelled by knowledge. So that's the whole. Kalmasha means like dirt actually. But dirt of the mind here they are talking about, and is Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya, that's what they're talking about. All that gets washed away, or उसी को sin बोला गया है वेदांत में. क्योंकि हम लोग हमेशा sin associate करते, कोई बुरा काम करो तो sin है, मगर what Vedanta is saying, the reason you do बुरा काम because those negativities are in you. So, that basically that's what really the sin is, all the negative thing that will push you to do wrong things. So that's how we have to look at it. So let's look at some of those words now. Is tad buddhayaha, means that knowledge is such that the buddhi is identified with that. So in our self, the faculty of buddhi is the one that understanding power to it. Because we have seen that in mind there are different levels. There is a lower mind and the higher mind, and higher mind is buddhi, the one which decides things and all that. Usme jab that person is identified with the Brahman through the buddhi, that is called tad buddhaya. So इसलिए जानबूझ के यहाँ मन की जगह बुद्धि को यूज किया गया है यहाँ पे, and we will analyze it a little more. Even though in the end we have to transcend the buddhi, right? That's what we say, that we have to transcend it. But buddhi is an extremely powerful tool in the spiritual sadhana, because to a large extent we can understand the knowledge through buddhi first, because अगर वो ही नहीं होगा तो हम आगे नहीं बढ़ सकते, you know. And so, and then he was Dilli Wale Swamiji was explaining that how even in the worldly realm there are many things first we understand by buddhi, and then we yeah, let me mute Kamlaji. Yeah, okay. First we understand things by buddhi, and then we move forward. If we have not even done that, we cannot move forward. And he gave a perfect example, everybody knows about it, going to the moon. You know, they had to first analyze everything, understand it intellectually. And if you really think about the Western history, you know, way back then, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 500-600 years ago, they literally thought that the world was flat. Right? There was some theory like that. अपने में तो वो सदियों से, you know, भूगोल उसको बोलते हैं, you know, they are let's not compare, but just focus on Western, because these people are the one who went to the moon. So now they knew, first all these crazy theories were there, Earth is flat and you can fall off and God knows what, all the crazy stuff. But then with science and with advancement, they got totally convinced that the world is round, and then the more advancement happened, more, and then they have all these calculations. So everything was understood by buddhi, and then they sent the rocket up. अगर उन्होंने वो सब किया नहीं होता तो they could never land on the moon, right? So he's saying the same way, our false ideas gets destroyed, negated by the right understanding. That's how the spiritual world also functions. Because, you know, say if we had never heard about that Brahman before, and like I think Sushil ji was expressing that how when we were in India and growing up, a lot of our families, I'm not going to say everybody, but in most of our families, okay, you do good karmas, you go to Swarga and this and that. Nobody talked about like Atma, Paramatma and things like that. But now that we know, then the old ideas you drop them with the new knowledge. So that is you know, what should I say, aim of this buddhi over here, that all the false notion keep negating them. And but to do that, you have to contemplate on the whatever you hear again and again. In the beginning, we also know sometimes it sounds so outlandish. Like one of my friend, you know, Madhu, she was telling me when we first joined the study group, like, you know, 30 years ago, and we didn't know much about details of all these things. She's saying that I sit in the study group, and our teacher says, we are not the body. And she said, she could not get that thought out of her head. She said, well, how crazy, I'm not the body. What do you mean I'm not the body? You know, that made her think so much, because, you know, she also grew up with just rituals and this and that. Nobody talked about that. So that's what it is. You have to contemplate. And after that, you know, she could give a whole talk on Vedanta after, you know, 5-10 years, because then she kind of understood and she believed in it. So and then Dilli Wale Swami kind of very nicely analyzed this, you know, when you believe there's a belief, and there is actual, when the knowledge, belief and knowledge. What is the difference between belief and knowledge? Because that's kind of important. Because we grew up with a lot of beliefs, but, you know, actual knowledge, what is the difference? So he's saying that there is a faith in something, and there is no, I actually believe in it 100%. So he's saying that faith it's little bit, it is connected with our emotions. You know, like if you have Upanishads are saying that, you know, that you know, teachers are saying, Mahatmas are saying that, you know, there is a Brahman, and I kind of accept, because that is at acceptance level, it is just a belief. Because and belief can make you calm, quiet and peaceful. So there is a very, very important role of belief. In the beginning, it is that only, right? Shraddha, jisko hum log bolenge. But it is a little bit at a lower level still. Shraddha can be at a higher Shraddha when it nishtha ban jati hai, when you intellectually accept it. You know, like I remember in my 10th grade class, sometimes, you know, if I would bring the topic in the beginning of reincarnation, and I'll ask them, how many of you believe? So they were very hesitant. They say, I have doubt. You have doubt, right? That's normal. Don't worry about it. There is a very normal thing. Hey, do we come back, or is it just end of it? That's still at a, you know, they have heard it as a Hindu but they don't still. But after we gave them all the reasons and we contemplated for several weeks, and then oh yeah, now I do believe it. Some of them still may not. Who knows? But this is what happened. So belief is more at an emotional level, and the knowledge is at an intellectual level, because intellect is a rational thinker, he said. So he's saying that out of suppose love or gratefulness or things like that, you may believe something, but if your intellect is not accepting it, somewhere inside your mind you're not going to believe it, and you go say nahi, हाँ बोल देंगे ऊपर से, मगर अंदर से you are not believing it. So he's saying that intellect is a very powerful thing, and the reason he's telling all this, because यहाँ पर तद बुद्धया यूज किया गया है, इसके लिए बुद्धि यूज की है. So he's saying that intellect की वजह से ही दुनिया में सारे changes आते हैं, because you are believing in something, and then suddenly some new evidence comes, and you analyze everything, and your intellect says, yes, this is what it is, and now I have to drop this whole idea and I have to hold on to this new one. That's what the role of intellect is. So he's saying there is always kind of a tug of war going on between belief and knowledge, but if you accept the belief without thinking and accepting, then there is a big danger in it, and we all know that danger. उसको बोलते हैं अंधविश्वास, अंधश्रद्धा. उसका रूप बहुत बिगड़ सकता है. इतना फनाटिक हो जाते हैं लोग, like superstitious, और ये नहीं करना, वो नहीं करना, ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा. All that is because they have not, it's kind of in between hanging over there. They have not convinced about something with logic and all that. So he's saying the knowledge is very important, and then it is very important to gain it by the right means, he said. Because era gera nattu kara se sun ke, if you start believing, then again there will be problem. So you want to hear the shastras, because it's like a time tested things by so many of them. And I think that our shastras are like what Chinmayaji was explaining, the difference between, I'm not putting down any religion or anything, so don't think that way, but just from analytical perspective, because ours is a very ancient, and it's called Sanatan Dharma, and we don't have any one inventor of this, because these are, as I explained, that these are just laws of nature, prakriti, relationship with Brahman that doesn't change. That's why it's called, forever. And then it has been validated by hundreds and thousands of Rishi Munis over the years. And they have come to the same conclusion, but they may have presented it slightly different way for our understanding, but their conclusions is 100% same. So there is a huge validity. So a realized master and their words through the scriptures, that's what I need to contemplate upon. And that's why our teacher used to always say, if you have any doubt, go back to the Shastras. Go back to the Gita. Don't start sitting and analyzing yourself, or yahan se suna, internet se suna, ye wo. Don't do that. Go back to it. And then that's why you have these gurus and all that who will, if I have a doubt, I can go and, remove my doubt. So we have to just think about all that thing. So after how does this intellectual comprehension of this, let's see the science of it. What happens? So our ignorance or the misunderstanding is negated. And when that happens, lots of things follow it. When the ignorance is gone or the misunderstanding is gone, I'm talking about this particular subject now, Atmagyan. So what happens? All our desire, anger, jealousy, all these wrong notions, they get dropped. This is what the effect of it is. So he explained it like, he said that जैसे एक pack of card होता है, हम लोग वो बचपन में सभी ने किया होगा, हम लोग पत्तों से बनाते थे एक घर, एक दूसरे के ऊपर डाल के. यहाँ पर मैंने देखा ये बच्चे लोग अभी खाली वीडियो गेम खेलते हैं और फोन पे लगे रहते हैं, पर हम लोग ने ये सारे गेम खेले हुए हैं, राइट. इट वाज सो मच फन, एंड इट्स लाइक इतना ध्यान से बनाते हैं. एंड आई नो दैट मेरे कजिन्स होते थे, वो जरा सा दूर से फूक मारते थे, बूम करके सब गिर जाता था. दे यूज्ड टू चीट बिकॉज दे वांटेड इट टू ड्रॉप. सो ही सेइंग दैट अगर नीचे का भी जरा सा हिला दो वो पत्ते में, पूरा पूरा ढह जाएगा. So that's what our belief, all these false beliefs are sitting on like a pack of cards, and it just, once that knowledge comes, everything gets wiped out. It's not just one or two things, that's why the whole thing gets wiped out. So he's saying that we hold on to all these attachments and this and that and all that. That it's all flimsy. If you take the life in a bigger picture, then we won't feel that so attached. And so I thought that was beautiful. And the other example he gave was also beautiful. He's saying that, everybody has seen the sunrise, right? पहले एकदम डार्क होता है, बीच में थोड़ा लाइट जला दो, ये कर दो, वो कर दो, उससे थोड़ी बहुत रोशनी हो सकती है. बट जो एक इफेक्ट सन जो पूरा निकल आता है बाहर, and there are no clouds and it's full sun, how it illuminates the whole world. Versus, nighttime when we put lights on, and it can never be the same. Everybody agrees? Impossible. That's what happens. I thought that was such a beautiful example he gave, that when the knowledge dawns, it is like a sun coming out and just removing the darkness completely from the entire, area. So, and then the other example he gave was so beautiful too, that what exactly happens. He said, it's like, have you heard of this saying that, there's a question, what is diamond? And the answer is, anybody knows? It's really like a spiritual thing. It says that it's
carbon.
I'm sorry?
Actually, it's carbon and then it has to be polished.
Yeah, but right. So it's called carbon under stress. Just pressure of the earth on the carbon with heat and temperature and pressure, all the atoms get rearranged in there completely. And it becomes like a beautiful crystal, hard, and it's just like we know, all the Indians know about diamonds. All of us have some diamond thing or the other, given by our parents, in-laws. So it's like this diamond is nothing but carbon, but so much difference is there, right? Because, from the molecular thing, it is the same. It's carbon only. Both are carbon, but it's just under pressure. So we are not talking about negative pressure here. We are talking about, doing the karma yoga, purifying the mind, continuously lage ja rahe hain, that kind of thing, and then you turn into a diamond. So I thought that was such a beautiful example. So by upasana and karma yoga, you follow the path, and then the knowledge will make you into a diamond. That's what it is. And what happens is the buddhi comes to know the nature of the self. That's what the whole thing is. And person identifies with that Parabrahma, own self as a Atma. My Atma is the same as a Parabrahma. And then he has a complete nishtha. The word is used over here. Nishtha means there is no flickering of that knowledge in the mind. I don't know and I'm not sure. Aisa kuch nahi. Slow and steadily, fully abidance in it. And then the knowledge is like the supreme abode. Because यहाँ पर उन्होंने बोला ना कि अच्छा, there is a word पुनरावृत्ति. So पुनरावृत्ति means वापस आना. And like what दिल्ली वाले स्वामी gave an example, जैसे बोलते हैं कि एक बुक होती है, पब्लिश होती है, फिर उसकी पुनरावृत्ति होती है. मीन्स उसको थोड़ा पॉलिश करके उसका न्यू एडिशन, न्यू कवर ववर देके वापस पब्लिश करते हैं उसको. तो बोलते हैं हमारा लाइफ भी कुछ ऐसा ही है. We have one life, फिर we die and then we take another birth. पुनरावृत्ति हो रही है. तो इस वो खत्म हो जाती है पुनरावृत्ति. Why? Because सारा वो कलमश जो लास्ट वर्ड है ना, all your negativities are gone, meaning your delusion is gone. And then amazing thing is the same exact principle is coming in Kathopanishad for the next verse. Exactly same thing. So you will see that how it will get more, because they have taken some more words over there and putting together these two, you will understand this completely. And he's saying that you become free from the chakkar of birth and death, free from sansar. And ये संसार को एक another spot में भगवद गीता में दुखालय बोला है. One Krishna Bhagwan has called this world दुखालय. Even though दुख सुख दोनों होता है, we know that, but हम लोग दुख में ज़्यादा डूबे रहते हैं ना, because दुख affects us very negatively. So that's what it is, that it becomes free from punaravritti because the limitation is dropped. If the person already knows that now, that final state is a what you call ananta state, unlimited. There is no limit to it. That's why you don't come back. So basically, it's like a whole thing is nothing but it's a very scientific, why it happens. Now they talked about ki janam maran khatam ho jata hai, right? But what Chinmayanand ji always stressed on, like Jivan Mukti. While you are living, janam maran khatam hona matlab you do not get affected by the change. And we were talking about that it's not like sometimes we don't feel bad about something, somebody passing away or anything, all those negative, positive things keep happening in our life, but we not getting swayed into it and knowing that this is part of the nature. And then, because you are established, because you know something better. If I didn't know about that Atma, if I didn't know that, hey, what is my life and how it changes and how I can come back again or I can remain forever in Atma form and all that, I would be scared then because I don't know. But once I know and I'm established in it, that's when I'm not going to feel, that kind of pain that I will just get swayed and get depressed or something. So I think that one of the things that I like, one of the Mahatmas said, somebody went to him and he said, so if I study this knowledge and get established in it, so then I won't get any pain or dukh. He said, no, you will get dukh sukh, but tum dukh se dukhi nahi hoge. So that's the main message. Don't misunderstand कि कुछ अच्छा ही अच्छा होता जाएगा और कुछ बुरा होगा. That's not possible. You have the two sides of the coin. It is going to happen to everybody, whether you are a saint or a sinner or anyone. The up and down is going to happen, but you won't get swayed in it. So that's what he's talking about. Any question, comment, or anybody has anything to add? Whatever we discussed. So we can read Swamiji's commentary now. There's some similar points and some new points are there too. Did I do yeah, I did that, right? This Sanskrit? Yeah, okay. Anilji, you want to read?
Okay. Intellect absorbed in that, their self being that, established in that, with that for their supreme goal, they go whence there is no return. Their sins dispelled by knowledge. Having gained an experience of the inner reality, the sage, in all his various personal identities, thereafter comes to live in unison with that lived experience of the divinity. His intellect gets, as it were, absorbed in that experience, and his mind cannot but sing the song of godliness through every one of its emotions. I think this is what's called a joyful life, isn't it?
Yes. Because if you're not affected by the changes, then only you can be truly joyful, no? Right. If you are constantly affected, then you will see in one day how many things go up and down, right? We see it.
Right.
Yeah.
So exactly the same circumstances affect people differently.
Yeah. Same, exactly. So it depends on their shraddha, their knowledge, all of that. It depends on that. So if somebody is very steady, just be sure that he knows a higher knowledge. That's why he's calm and peaceful.
He becomes ever intent upon the infinite bliss that he has come to recognize as the essence in him. To such an individual, the very goal is nothing but the self, which he has tasted once and found to be illimitable and unlimited.
That's the same meaning, limitless, boundless. It is another word, even I had to look up that word because I had not seen that word. But the meaning is the same.
An individual who has thus experienced himself upon the word of truth within himself shall thereafter have no reason or chance to get caught up again in this world of likes and dislikes.
So this is the main thing. That's where we have a problem. We always get caught up in this. I like this, I don't like this. I like the whole day we are doing that with it. He doesn't get caught up in that.
This idea, when rightly understood, will be found to contain deeper suggestions, deeper than what the Puranic belief declares. It is the assertion of the Puranas that after death, a true devotee retires to heavens to live therein eternally. In the standpoint of Vedanta, it is more substantially subjective. The non-return mentioned herein is the impossibility of a realized man to fall back again into ignorance and sensuousness. After having contacted the self, the ego that struggled to do so completely ends with its rediscovery that it itself is the self. An awakened dreamer need have no more fear than he will again be hunted down by the dream tiger.
So here, this is what exactly I was saying, that he's talking about while living, what happens to that person. Because when we read the Puranic stories, it always takes us to some heavens, and there is always that division, and then, oh yeah, we will be, if you do good karmas, we'll be sitting in heaven and bansi bajate rahenge hum log puri. And you know, some of the other faiths also, they have this, कि भाई, you know, वहाँ पर ये bodily affliction नहीं होगा, and all that is may be true and all, but then that's not the final life also, and we discussed that even in the स्वर्ग में भी जो हमको बताया गया है पुराणों में, वहाँ भी jealousy, anger, frustration, ये सब है. So how can it be, you know? So what they are talking about is, you know, the Vedanta is talking about is a subjective journey where non-return means that you won't fall back into ignorance and all that. That's very nicely explained.
And the other thing is, you would never want to. Once you experience the joy, why do you ever want to go back?
One thing is you will not want to, and secondly, it has become an impossibility to go back for the same reason. It's like, once I know how to read, well, I don't want to be illiterate again. I cannot actually, if you think about it. That's another thing, I cannot.
How can we say that the ego will not rise again in such a man's bosom? The reason is indicated here. When Krishna qualifies such men as those whose impurities had been shaken off by knowledge. The impurities mentioned here are the vasanas, which are the very materials with which the ego is conjured up. These vasanas together constitute what we philosophically call the ignorance of spiritual divinity. The antidote for ignorance is knowledge. Thus, when with the rise of the knowledge of spiritual bliss, the dreary darkness of ignorance ends, the ego too comes to a total extinction from which it cannot restart its career. Without a cause, no effect is ever possible. In short, in this stanza, we are meeting the most optimistic philosophy exciting in the world, declaring courageously that self-realization is the final experience in the pilgrimage of evolution, and that in it the evolver in us shall come to fulfill himself. God realization is the last stage of growth, and thereafter to be the supreme is the goal of all evolutionary struggles, to achieve which the ego had in its self-evolution roamed about so long in the field of its own self-created world of finitude and imperfections.
So it is like a little bit, you know, our mind is confused, and that's why they say that we all, because we are, you know, unlimited and, you know, eternal and all, that's why we crave for it. Whatever we crave that, because that's our true nature. जो ट्रू नेचर होता है ना, उसी को हम क्रेव करते हैं. बट हम लोग को पता नहीं कि वो कहाँ मिलेगा हमको, बिकॉज इट्स बोलते हैं सच्चित आनंद. So we are looking for that ultimate bliss. We are looking for that ultimate, you know, infinity. But we try to look for small joys in the world because we don't know about the other. But once somebody comes to know, hey, this world thing, whatever, you get a little joy and then it fleets away, it's gone. So I'm putting my effort in the wrong thing, you know. So that's what it is. That I'm just going in that chakkar because it's ignorance on my part, you know. deep-seated ignorance, and that ignorance is the one that causes all the problems. And we will see in Kathopanishad that Tejomaya opened it up. The basic cause is ignorance of this sansar. Because of ignorance, we get desires. Desires are nothing but, hey, something else is going to make me happy, forgetting that my own nature is happiness. And then last time Joe had brought that point, why do we get a little happy when we win and things like that? All it is that if I say I want to win, the agitation is there in my mind. When I win, temporarily the agitation is gone and my true nature comes up. So that happiness we feel, we think it's coming from the winning, it's not. It takes a little time to understand this mechanism, but because of the happiness we always feel within ourselves only. Happiness is never felt outside, correct? Because it's not कि बाहर की चीजें भर रही है मुझ में happiness. No, the agitation is down and my mind is calm. That's why I'm feeling happy. But then it is because of that desire got fulfilled, and then next desire come out. Imagine अगर किसी में वो desire ही नहीं आएगी, तो वो हमेशा blissful रहेगा, And we saw that, we see in this world also. Suppose if you like to travel, if you have too many likes and dislikes, you will be a horrible traveler, right? Because you don't know what's coming next. कुछ भी होएगा, plane cancel हो गया, train बंद हो गई, anything can happen. And when you are on the road, so many things. खाना क्या मिलेगा? You don't know what is going to. So if you have too many likes and dislikes, you better sit at home only, because you will be miserable on a trip. So the people who enjoy, they say जो भी होएगा देखा जाएगा. Worldly examples are there too. So basically that's what it is, that the ignorance is gone, and then you got the infinitude you discovered.
So Umaji, why is it that some people choose to only live in ignorance no matter what?
Because it's like I don't know anything better. That's what it is. It's like एक कहानी सुनी है आपने, एक मेंढक था, वो एक कुएं का था और एक ओशन का मेंढक था. तो एक बार वो ओशन वाला मेंढक happened to see the कुआं वाला मेंढक, and they were having a conversation. And the कुआं वाला said, I'm very happy where I am. I have so much water. And I was saying, what are you talking about? You don't even know what a lot of water is. But the कुएं वाला doesn't want to listen, because he has never seen it. So he, in his own ignorance and ego, is saying, ऐਵੇਂ ही बोलता है, कुछ नहीं है वहाँ पर, मैं तो इतना खुश हूँ यहाँ पे, तू जो बोलता है just some सपना है कुछ. And the guy cannot convince him. But suppose if he gets convinced, and say, okay, please take me there, then it can happen. That's what happens. If I don't know any better, I will think this is what the life is. But that's why they say that the Shastras are helpful in this, because they are the one who give you another angle to think, which you never think before, And then the other point is, like, sometimes Tejomaya would say, some people say, hey, why do I need spirituality? I'm very happy where I am. So you say, okay, right now you may be very happy because your job is doing good, your children are happy, this, that. Tomorrow you don't know. You might lose your job, you might lose some loved one, somebody might die, somebody might get disease. Fir kya? Are you going to be sitting in, so you have to do this thing before all those things happen, so that you know something better. Because in our life, nobody has a goody stuff going all the time. So it's basically what you are saying is, when I don't know anything better, that's why we live. अगर उनको भी convince हो जाए ना वो लोग, अनिल जी, कि कुछ है better, वो लोग भी साधना करेंगे 100%. And that's why we were talking about that, कि intellectually you have to be convinced. And I think that, to me, Chinmayanand ji was a master of that, because I heard so many Nastic people, because there was a whole group of people, and we kind of belong to that generation. जो अमेरिका में आए ना लोग, doctors, engineers, very, very highly educated, rational being, and totally Nastic, But when they heard his one lecture, something changed in them, because he was so rational in his approach. And he himself says that actually जो नास्तिक होते हैं ना वो लोग, it's not they don't believe in God and none of that. They are just dying to know something more. They are just so curious, and if you feed them the right information, they will be the most devoted people. And that's exactly what happened with a lot of our people who are like the members of over there tell their story that that they were totally Gnostic and now they are like totally turned around because the way he approached the whole thing. So any other point? Does that make
Should I-
sense? Yeah.
Next,
Did we finish?
yeah, but next verse, the top line, should I read it now?
Yeah, sure.
How do those wise men, whose ignorance of the self has been removed by knowledge, see truth? It is said.
Okay, so in every almost all these chapters that we did, there was a lakshan of a civilized. I mean, not civilized. Self-realized person, right? Even chapter 2, maybe we had the whole thing when Arjuna asked, "Hey, how does this person?" So either be in a similar kind of thing. Okay, I have not reached there yet, but I still want to know that person who got self-realized. How does he view the world? What is उसके मन में क्या चल रहा है? Something like that. This next verse is kind of answering that kind of curiosity in us. So यहाँ पर है ना self-realized person को पंडित बोला. Let me do the verse and then we will see. So this is verse 18 now. विद्या विनय संपन्ने ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि शुनि चैव श्वपाके च शुनि चैव श्वपाके च पंडिताः समदर्शिनः. Okay. So vidya vinaya sampanne, upon one endowed with learning and humility, brahmane, or on a brahmana, means usually brahman की क्या बोलते हैं कैरेक्टरिस्टिक बताया उन्होंने कि विद्या विनय संपन्न. विद्या है उसमें विनम्रता है उसको. और गवी इज अ काउ, हस्तिनी इज अ एलिफेंट, शुनि इज अ डॉग, and cha is and, eva is even, shwapake. Now this is a little bit crazy word, huh? यहाँ पर लिखा है आउटकास्ट और दिल्ली वाले स्वामी ने लाइक चांडाल जिसको बोलते हैं और समथिंग, बट एक्चुअल मीनिंग ऑफ द वर्ड श्वपाके इज, श्व मीन्स डॉग अगेन, पाके मीन्स जो पका कर खाता है, मतलब डॉग ईटर. मीन्स इवन मीट ईटर्स या डॉग ईटर जैसा. It's like, oh my God. Krishna Bhagwan just wanted to tell him the contrast, because it's very, very easy to see Bhagwan in goody people, very easy. But किसी दुष्ट में या किसी नेगेटिव चीज में जो हमको नेगेटिव लगती है, okay, remember that, उसमें भगवान को देखना बहुत मुश्किल है. But he's saying उसकी कैसे, how this person has a samadarshina. So that's what this shwapake means, dog eater. Cha is and, panditaha sages, samadarshina, this is the most important word, equal seeing. Yeah, it's hard to translate the Sanskrit word into English. हम लोग बोलते हैं ना दर्शन, to see. So वो हर एक को समान दृष्टि से देखता है. So we have to analyze it little bit more, because there is one thing called, like a knowledge, and one thing called vyavaar. So you have to be established in that knowledge. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि वो कोई बुरे आदमी जो बुरा काम कर रहा हो. We can't even say बुरा आदमी, because आदमी वैसे कभी बुरा नहीं हो सकता, because he has the same आत्मा. Everybody has that. His mind has some dirt and much more than others maybe, and he's doing negative stuff. It's not like वो उसको बोलेगा वो तू भी भगवान है, उसको माला चढ़ाएगा वगैरह वगैरह. No, he will, whatever is needed in the world, he will do. But he very well knowing in his heart that his Atma is exactly pure like mine. And I think that's why we have this namaste or namaskar and what do we have, what does everybody knows, right? What it means? It means I bow down to the divinity in you. So no matter who it is, and when usually namaskar करते हैं ना, जैसे सभी को साथ में कर सकते हैं हम, correct? हम usually when we individually meet, we do namaste like that. But you can even come in a room and together say namaskar to everybody. because I'm seeing an Atma in everyone. Together I'm seeing, you know. So there are so many different ways to see what they're saying. So basically what it is that even a realized soul, he has a body. So he's seeing himself, is seeing his body, other people are seeing also, and he has a mind also, you know, which may have a different kind of gunas in it. That's not what they are talking about. They are talking about through the body and this mind, he has this knowledge now, a different vision he has. And you know, so it's what Dilliwale Swamiji said, it's like a person sitting in a balcony and looking out. पहले वो सोचता था मैं बालकनी हूँ, और अभी उसको पता चल गया कि मैं बालकनी नहीं हूँ. You know, I am that soul, or you know, that consciousness looking out. So you know, this body is like a balcony, you can say. I'm not this balcony, but I am that soul looking out. So when he looks out at the soul, and he already is established in this knowledge that my Atma is the same as Brahman, that's why he has a Samadarshan. You know, equal vision for everyone. That's why the saints and sages, they don't hate anyone. A lot of them go to the prison and they try to lift those people up. Shri Ravi Shankar does it. Sadhguru said that he has a program for the prison. In fact, I was listening to one of his talk because he was in America recently, looks like. A lot of different people interviewed him here, hundreds of them, and there are so many videos are out there. And you know, so he was telling them that some of the southern states, his program has become compulsory in the prison. That all those prisoners have to go through that, because he's saying that, and then he said such an interesting analogy that I never thought about it that way. He's saying that it's like they are not no different than other people. They also want to break the boundaries, because remember, we are you know, infinite, right? But we don't feel that way. So he's saying people crave to do something risky. That's why they go and, you know, jump off the cliff with whatever, you know, wings, and go climb the mountain and do this, and main ye karoon, wo karoon, and even in your own talent you want to go further and further and further. So these people, you know, he's saying it's like a race car driving. If I start racing the car on the street, what will happen? I'll get arrested, probably put in jail for reckless driving. But if I do the racing in a race car place, in a competition, I'm giving a medal. You know, he's also doing the same risky stuff, but he's doing in a controlled fashion. Okay, so ये जो criminal होते हैं ना, they are craving to do something crazy, but they don't know how to do it in a controlled fashion and use their talent like that. They go and do all these crimes because they're trying to break the boundaries. You know, it's a kind of a very interesting way to look at it. But all he was trying to say is that their kind of knowledge is a little messed up, but if you bring them to the right track, they can be like normal people. That's what he's trying to get at, you know, because when we look at criminals, we look at, you know, उसको पड़ा रहने दो, जेल में सड़ने दो, ये है वो है, because हम लोग बहुत angry हो जाते हैं. The saints and sages don't. They want to lift an ordinary person, a person who has done crime, everybody they want to lift, because they believe that everybody can be salvaged. So that is called Samadarshan. And I think that with Chinmayanandaji's life, I gave a very, this is a true story, and I have shared it, but I'll share it again in case you didn't hear or you forgot, that when he was, you know, in America and giving his discourses, then, you know, people, organizers and all that, they want to keep the whole atmosphere very sattvic and very nice. And obviously that's kind of because it's a spiritual place. So he's saying that one like homeless type of guy walked into that satsang with a beer in his hand. And sabhi log hai na, nikalo isko type, you know, organizers. And Swami ji bola, come here. Usko apne paas mein bithaya. Aur baad mein logon ne pucha ki aisa apne kyun kiya? Bola, he needs me more than you guys do. You know? So that's what a saint is, you know, that how different they look at. I thought it's such a beautiful story because, you know, that makes us so humble that we should not be judging anybody, putting them down. So the Samadarshan, equal vision, and actually Dilliwale Swami said that Sama is another word for Brahman also. the supreme reality, and he thinks that the word Sanskrit word sam says English mein same aaya hai. Because see how similar it is when you say same. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, I thought that was very interesting. So, and then here he has used the word Brahman, right? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahman. So he's saying that Brahman वो है जिसके पास विद्या है, नॉलेज है, एंड जिसके पास ह्यूमिलिटी है. तो अगर विद्या से ह्यूमिलिटी आई, दैट मीन्स यू गॉट द करेक्ट नॉलेज. बिकॉज कभी कभी ना वो नॉलेज से अहंकार आ जाता है. I know so much and blah, blah, blah. He's saying if you got that ahankar, that means your knowledge is not good. Something is wrong, your method is wrong, you got the wrong. विद्या विनय, विद्या अगर सही नॉलेज है, सही मीन्स है, तो विनय आएगा ही आएगा, ह्यूमिलिटी आएगी ही आएगी. दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वर्ड. So if our ego is getting fattened, that means something is wrong with our knowledge. So the other, what is the difference of the vision now? One more point, which kind of we discussed it many times, but I'll just repeat it. The difference is that now I know that the self in me is self in all. That is the main crux of this when he says similar vision. How does he get it? So, and then in this verse he said that